Border played golf this morning, still fuming over a press conference held in Melbourne yesterday, at which the ACB claimed his procrastination had delayed their naming of the team to tour Pakistan in September.
You know, I'm basically fed up with all the innuendo, etc., and speculation, and, you know, I'm basically telling you officially that I'm going to retire from international cricket, and, you know, it's done with a heavy heart, and it's taken me a lot of weeks to come to this decision, but I was under the impression I had those weeks up my sleeve to make what, to me, is the most important decision of my life.
Border, who's kept his feelings a closely guarded secret, was due to announce his retirement after a decade as Australian captain at a press conference in Melbourne tomorrow. But he had informed the chairman of selectors last week. He's now mystified why he was held up to ridicule yesterday.
I was just disappointed by some of the comments made last night by Graham Halbish and Alan Crompton, and they were basically saying that I'm gumming up the works, and they knew full well that there was a decision being made tomorrow at a national press conference that was going to be called. So, you know, I don't know what the agenda is, but, you know, it's very disappointing.
Border was angry and emotional this afternoon. He realises his life is about to change.
It's a tough decision for me, Patrick. It's like a part of me has died by making this decision to retire. And it was a painstaking process, and I thought it's better, obviously not.
The ACB has a job for Border once his decision to give the game away was made public. Whether that job still exists after today's statements now hangs in the balance.
They've forced my hand to make this statement. As far as the job with the board goes, you know, maybe it might be questioned, but if it is, bad luck.
So angry as Border, tomorrow's press conference in Melbourne is unlikely to go ahead. But the man who has scored more runs in Test cricket than any other player, has captained his beloved Australian team more times than anyone else, and has played more Tests than any other cricketer, thought he deserved better.
Hear, hear.
Another kid in the schoolyard in the blazing summer sun, standing in the heat waves with the gift of a champion.
Al Hooper struggling for a wicket, none for 83 his figures. He continues to Allan Border in search of 10,000 Test runs. He works this one, here it is, plays it to mid-on, Bishop picks up, Allan Border raises his bat. The second player in the history of the game to score 10,000 Test runs, and a standing ovation from this crowd here at the SCG, acknowledging one of the greatest players to ever represent his country, and quite rightly so, a standing ovation.
Without a he's the favourite son of a champion breed. Whenever he wears the golden breed, where would we be without a beat?
Two balls to Border, he pushes away on the offside. There it is! Border's got his 100, he puts his hands in the air, takes his helmet off, takes his bat off, acknowledges the crowd, he turns away and he does a salute of the ground, acknowledging the crowd. The Australian captain gets a century in his 150th Test match.
Batman of our generation, the man they call AB. The years that pass so quickly, but his record will always stand. He's the greatest captain ever born. Allan Border is our man.
And would you believe the most number of wickets by an Australian Test captain in a Test match and against the West Indies? What a feat.
Oh, absolutely no chance of doing something like that. That's, you know, dream time stuff. But it was a wicket where if you spun the ball, had a bit of luck and things went for you, you had a chance. And it was just one of those games where a lot of things went right for me. Remarkable as it may seem, 11 wickets, so no, I'm really happy. The main thing is that we won the game.
At the 341, all the Australian players out there at the moment watching as Patel bowls to Border. Border's swinging into this and he hits it well. It's going out towards the boundary and it's going for 4. And that's it. That's the record. Allan Border. his helmet and raises his bat. A wonderful moment for the Australian captain, and the crowd here at Lancaster Park, you can hear them in the background. Let's hear the applause for Allan Border, record run scorer in Test cricket.
I think it's more relief than elation. It's hard to describe, really. I suppose the fact that it has taken quite a few innings just to get these 50 runs, you'd have to say it's relief. I was just talking to Richard Hadley about the situation he went through and trying to get to that record mark, and he basically said the same thing. It's relief and the initial feeling, and then obviously over a period of time, a fair bit of elation.
Whenever he wears the golden green, where would we be without A.B.?
Not really, because I felt that comments coming out of the Australian Cricket Board at a press conference that I didn't think was going to happen on a Tuesday. No, they knew full well that I was going to Melbourne to make my announcement, and they knew what the announcement was going to be, and I just felt embarrassed by the innuendo and speculation as a result of those comments on the Tuesday. So I just decided to take matters into my own hands. I've spoken to the Australian Cricket Board, and I'm satisfied with their explanation of what's happened, and obviously there's just been a breakdown in communications, and they've felt embarrassed by what I've taken on, as I felt embarrassed about what they were saying and the speculation resulting from that. So, simple breakdown, and hopefully there's no, as I said to start the conference off, no ongoing dramas, because I still want to have a heavy involvement with Australian cricket.
But Border stood firm on what he said last night.
My understanding was that nothing was to be said until my conference that was going to happen in Melbourne today. So I was very disappointed and embarrassed by what had transpired.
Did the ACB apologise to you at all?
I wouldn't call it an apology. It was more just a conversation as to their side of the story, and I'm satisfied with their explanation.
All the same, it seems to have left a nasty taste in Allan Border's mouth.
Oh, mate, I would have liked to have happened in the right way at a national press conference in Melbourne, but I felt embarrassed by things that were being said, and I decided to take it on my own to make the announcement.
And what about his future involvement in Australian cricket?
As I say, nothing's been finalised, and that will be something I will discuss with them. As I say, I'm quite open in wanting to have a future involvement with Australian cricket. Now, what that involves remains to be seen down the line, but I had a big decision to make over the last few weeks, and I wanted that to take precedence over any other bits and pieces that might happen as a result of retirement.
Border says he'd like to play for Queensland in a full Sheffield Shield season. He was asked about then coaching.
Oh no, at this stage I'd just like to play. As you said, there is some unfinished business there. I haven't been able to have a full season of Sheffield Shield cricket for Queensland, so that is an incentive and a way to ease out of first-class cricket.
Any advice for the ACB regarding their dealings with future captains?
Don't be afraid to give them a phone call every now and then. Once I informed the Australian Cricket Board of my decision last week that I was going to retire, I got home from a golf game with Patrick Welsh yesterday afternoon. I still hadn't had any contact from the Australian Cricket Board. Now, this is over a week, and they knew that